would like to voice my delegation's astonishment and grave concern at the convening of this session, and that because of the artificial motives behind the request to hold this session, including the pretext of humanitarian intervention that is used as a facade to take us back to the era of colonialism, the era of mandate and tampering with the destinies of peoples.
The Arab group rejects any intervention into the internal affairs of any country present here.
The enemy is not the people. The enemy is the imperialistic power that wishes to control natural resources such as oil and gas.
This initiative, together with the draft resolution that has been introduced, is an attempt to use the platform of the Human Rights Council to attain political objectives and intervene in the internal affairs of a sovereign state.
We also condemn the media treatment of the conflict. More than informing and calling attention to the need for a peaceful solution, it seems to be instigating and exacerbating the confrontation.
Why are we now wanting to condemn Syria? Is it perhaps because we're not forgiving its historic confrontation with the US and its Israeli allies in the implementation of the policy of domination against the Arab peoples, and in particular against Palestine?
I give the floor to United Nations Watch.
Thank you, Madam President. UN Watch welcomes the holding of the special session today and congratulates its sponsors, the US, the EU, and the other nations that endorsed the call. Yesterday in this chamber, the distinguished representative of Syria condemned the holding of this session and called for a resolution that would be, and I quote, free from offending us and free from harming our feelings. Accordingly, we need to know, will it harm the feelings of the Syrian government if we speak out for the human rights of its own people, for the innocent civilians across the country whom it has brutalized over the past few weeks, the thousands it arrested and the 500 it killed? Will it harm the government's feelings if we speak of the 6 protesters in the Omari Mosque killed on March 23, the mourners killed at the funeral on April 17, or the unarmed civilians in Dara who were shot and then prevented from receiving medical care? Madam President, it's time for this Council to focus more on the human rights of the victims, the right to life, freedom from torture and arbitrary detention, freedom of speech and assembly, and less on the feelings of the perpetrators. In the written statement that is before this Council today, submitted by our international coalition of more than 20 human rights groups and dissidents, we call for the following. 1. The Security Council urgently must exercise its responsibility to protect the civilian population. 2. The International Criminal Court should prepare to arrest and prosecute President Bashar al-Assad for war crimes and crimes against humanity. 3. This Council should condemn Syria's bid to become a member of this body, a cynical act that mocks the government's victims and harms the reputation of the UN. 4. The UN's Asian group should apologize to the thousands of victims for endorsing Syria's candidacy to the Human Rights Council. And finally, 5. Switzerland should convene the high contracting parties to the Geneva Conventions to address the Syrian military's attacks against civilians. Madam President, in this historic time, let us send a message to dictators the world over, that the jackpot of repression can last only so long, while the yearning of every human being for freedom and dignity can never be destroyed. Thank you.